Καλησπέρα αγαπητοί μου εν Χριστώ αδελφοί, επιστρέψαμε και με μεγάλη χαρά έχουμε απόψε μαζί μας τον αρχηγό της αστυνομίας της Νέας Υόρκης, τον Philip Banks τον Τρίτο, και τον ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ για την φιλοξενία που μας παρέχει εδώ στα κεντρικά γραφεία της αστυνομίας της Νέας Υόρκης. My beloved brothers and sisters in Christ, it is with great honor that we are enjoying the hospitality of the Chief of the New York City Police Department here at Police Headquarters at One Police Plaza. Today with us on our program we have the new Chief of the Department, Chief Philip Banks III, who most of us know from his tenure as Chief of the Community Affairs Bureau, and now elevated to the highest uniformed rank of Chief of the Department. Chief Banks, the thunderous and animated standing ovation you received at your promotion ceremony is most definitely a testament to your contribution to this department and city, and an external expression of our love and appreciation. Many have said you are a bridge builder, and we not only agree, but we are refreshed that we as citizens have such a person as the Chief of the New York City Police Department. It is truly a distinct honor to be in your company and enjoy your warm hospitality, sir. Thank you so much for granting us this interview, given your very arduous schedule.
Well, thank you very much. I'm actually just pleased and humbled that you even requested me. So the thanks go to you.
So, Chief Banks, give us a little bit of your background information, where you were born and raised, and your schooling for our listeners.
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, and my family lived in Brooklyn until I was about 13 years of age, 12 or 13 years of age. And then we moved to Southeast Queens. I went to junior high school in Queens. I attended Hillcrest High School in Southeast Queens. And then I went to school in Pennsylvania, Lincoln University, which is in Southeast Pennsylvania. And then I returned back to the city after my 4-year stay, and I joined the New York City Police Department.
Okay. Well, your father was an NYPD lieutenant, as we know. However, you mentioned in the Daily News that you wanted to come on the job to pay off some student loans and go to Wall Street. So, Chief, what changed? Why did you stay on this job?
You know, I don't know a scientific answer to that question. I do know that I graduated from Lincoln with a degree in business, and so it was my intention to go into that field. And at the time I came in the department, you know, I did have some student loans. So the New York City Police Department was actually paying more than what I was being offered for Wall Street at the time. So my plan was to, in fact, pay off some loans and in a few years switch careers and then go back or go to Wall Street. But I liked the job, and it became very gratifying and extremely rewarding to me. And then it kind of opened my eyes that, you know, you could really make this a career and the possibilities that existed. So I decided to stay and just dedicate myself to my career.
Very nice. This segment we're calling a portrait of a leader. So you as a leader, please tell us, where have you served within the NYPD?
I served, primarily my career has been on patrol. There's been a couple of stints where I was not on patrol, and when I mean by patrol, working in precincts. So I spent time, the majority of my time, in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn, as a police officer and as a sergeant and as a commanding officer. I did some time in the rank of lieutenant in Williamsburg and then the Flatbush section of Brooklyn. I spent also time in our Marine Patrol, which we call our Harbor Unit, and as a police officer I spent a few years there. When I was promoted to the rank of captain, which is the first line executive rank within the New York City Police Department, I spent that time in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. And then as promotions went, I was the chief, the executive officer, which is second in command in South Brooklyn. And then I commanded the Manhattan North Police Operations. And then I was promoted to the chief of community affairs and subsequently to the chief of department.
Very nice. You were recently appointed as chief of the department. Please describe for our listeners this position, its rank.
Well, it's the 4-star chief rank in the New York City Police Department, and there's one 4-star chief rank. So it's the highest uniform position, and my job is to oversee the major operational bureaus in the department. So for layman's terms, I guess I'm the day-to-day operational person in the New York City Police Department, and I report directly to Police Commissioner Kelly, who's the commissioner of all the NYPD.
So for the benefit of our listeners, if you could, to the extent that you could, of course, please describe a typical day of the chief of the department. And if you can, of course, give us a behind-the-scenes look at what you oversee.
Well, first of all, there's no typical day. And I guess that's one of the bad things about the job, but it's certainly the best thing about it. So there's really nothing typical about the day. The operational bureaus of the department include the Detective Bureau. So the chief of detective, he answers to me, and he's responsible for all detective operations in NYPD. The chief of patrol, which is our biggest bureau from a personnel standpoint of view, and patrol are officers that work in precincts throughout the whole city. He reports to this particular office. And then we have our Housing Bureau, our Transit Bureau, our Transportation Bureau, and our Organized Crime Control Bureau. So those are the operational bureaus within the department that answer to the office of the chief of department. So I basically oversee those officers. And primarily, my day starts with coming in and getting a recap of all of the crime and quality of life issues that has taken place the day before. So a typical day will start very early for me, and I'll sit down and get a briefing of all of the events that took place in the prior 24 hours. The overwhelming majority I'm already aware of because I was working the previous 24 hours.
That's right.
And we're just making sure that the communication and the efforts and the strategies and initiatives are in place, and then we're doing all we can to protect the city.
Now, you said you work with, you report directly to our commissioner, Commissioner Ray Kelly. Does that include a daily meeting with him, or is it something that is on a need basis?
Dailies meeting with the commissioner.
Dailies.
Yeah, so I'm dealing with the police commissioner in person and speaking to numerous times throughout the day, and he stays very much in tune to what's going on. So whether we have a bank robbery that's taking place, or certainly if we have something like a homicide that's taking place, I'm briefing him, and he's giving me instructions on what to do to handle the situation. So it's a daily situation.
Daily situation, and at any moment that phone could ring, I'm sure. So the MC at your promotion ceremony, which, by the way, was the most well-attended that I have seen, and it was a great honor to personally be there because we all in the Clergy Liaison Program have great regard and respect for you, Chief. So the MC and many others have said that the NYPD is the greatest police department in the world. Tell us, sir, why is it true in your opinion?
Well, for one, I think New York City is the greatest city in the world, right? So I think that the people who live and reside and do business in New York City are the most special people in the world. I mean, just our diversity, ethnicity. There's something about New York that's special. I think they made a song, right? New York, New York. So nice you can say it twice. So basically, the members of the City Police Department are just a microcosm of New York City. So I think we have the best city with the best people, and subsequently we have the best police force. And it's something about the men and women of this department. They just go above and beyond every single day to help out this particular city. And anybody who has the opportunity to see what they do on a day-by-day basis, things that's behind the lines that don't get reported, that are unseen, and you pretty much shake your head at the level of commitment and dedication. So I don't think there's anybody who's taken a real good look and would not agree with that particular comment.
Sure. I mean, even on the elevator ride up here with one of your team members, we saw a delegation somewhere from Asia, must have been from Japan, and also last week you had a delegation from Boston here. All other law enforcement agencies seem to agree and testify to the fact that this is the greatest police department in the world, and this is the reason why, of course, they send delegations here to see how it's done at its best. Chief, Mayor Bloomberg, Commissioner Kelly, and scores of people have called New York City the safest big city in America. What does it take to achieve this truly Herculean feat?
Well, one, it takes the commitment of the men and women in New York City Police Department to get behind the mission, to understand the mission, and to commit to that particular mission to keeping New York City safe. So that's the first thing. But what's as important as to that is the people who are not members of New York City Police Department and their effort and commitment and loyalty, because we certainly can't do it alone. So every single day, and like I said earlier, that I think that the people in New York City are the best people any place in the world. That relationship, that bond that we form, that partnership that we form, that connection that we form, it all goes hand in hand on making this the safest city. So keeping the city safe is not the job of the police department solely, and they certainly can't and will never be able to do it alone. So when you see a city that is safe, then hats off to the citizens of that particular city, because it means they're doing their part as well.
Sure. In light of the recent Boston Marathon bombing, there was also speculation that the two brothers, who we now, of course, know their identities and some of their motives, of course, those two brothers were headed to New York City. What can you tell the citizens of New York, to the extent you can, of course, to reassure them?
Well, when we received the information that there was a possibility that they were heading or intending to head into New York City, our plan went into effect. And it's a plan that we work on, we modify, we alter, we test, we gauge, and that plan went into effect. And it's a large part of that is intel. A large part of that is communication. It's deploying our tactics and strategies to stop that entry into New York City, and certainly if entry has already been breached, to mobilize that. So they didn't get to New York City. We believe we had that information timely enough that they probably would not have made it into New York City because of our efforts to protect the city. And those efforts include a large part of our relationship with our brother and sister officers that border us. So whether it's Connecticut, it's Westchester, New Jersey, it goes into effect, and the support that we receive from them, as well as our efforts together, the citizens of New York City is safe. And I want to always talk about the relationship that the police department has, but not only with just members of the community, which is vital, but also with other law enforcement agencies and other city and state agencies as well. That relationship goes into effect, and we all know what needs to be done because we worked on it, we discussed it, and so that we were pretty safe.
And it's a testament, I believe, to the leadership of this great department to tap the resources outside of the department, to be humble enough, as it were, to work with other communities, other departments, other law enforcement agencies, so that we keep our eye on the goal, and that is the safety of our great city. Now let's turn our focus to something a little more sensitive. All of these recent conversations about stop, question, and frisk, something that is even debated as we speak in the courts, and we are awaiting some sort of a decision from the judges and so on and so forth. Much has been said about this practice and tactic of this police department. Many people, however, forget about the question part and are upset about what is found on their person or something along those lines, in my humble opinion, of course. What is the criteria for this practice, and how does it benefit the welfare of the citizens of New York City?
Well, Father, I don't refer to it as a practice. I don't refer to it as an initiative. I don't even refer to it as a strategy. So just for clarification purposes, I'll just, stop and question is in the criminal procedure law in every state in this country. And basically it tells the police officer that, you need reasonable suspicion before you can stop and question someone. So we want our officers that when they develop reasonable suspicion, that a crime is about to occur, is occurring, or in fact has occurred, we want them to stop and conduct an investigation. So it certainly is stop and question. In limited situations, due to that preliminary investigation, if an officer feels that their safety is in danger, or someone, at that particular incident, safety is in danger, they're allowed, not by NYPD rules, but by the rules employed by the state, that they're allowed to take certain measures to ensure the safety, which is a limited pat-down, a frisk, to see if the person possesses anything that could cause physical harm to anyone afoot. So we want our police officers who are riding down the street or walking down the street to utilize good tactics. If you see someone who you believe has just committed a burglary, if you have information that this particular person could be committing a robbery, you have reasonable suspicion, we want you to stop and question that individual and determine whether or not a crime is afoot. So it's something in the criminal procedure law. It's not written for the New York City Police Department. It's employed by all police departments in this particular country. But we want our officers to do it respectfully. We want them to do it with good character, and we want them to utilize the training that they do have, and we certainly want them to understand it's a sensitive situation, ensure that one's dignity is not violated when this is done. So, and that's really the hardcore of this issue.
And I truly believe, having driven many times past such a situation, that in fact our officers do conduct themselves in a dignified manner, preserving also the dignity of someone who could potentially be a suspect or someone who has indeed, as you stated before, committed a crime. Having said that, however, they do conduct themselves in a dignified manner, preserving the dignity of the person they are dealing with. Now, many have called you, sir, a bridge builder. How can the NYPD build bridges with the communities that are frustrated with certain incidents such as shootings and with what they perceive, of course, as police abuse of their power?
Well, policing is not for everyone. It's certainly not an easy profession. No one wants to receive a ticket, whether they're speeding or not.
Sure. No
one wants to receive a parking ticket, whether they parked illegal or not. Certainly, no one wants to be arrested. It's almost like, this is just a part of the job that we have to do. And we look at our training. We hope our officers are doing it correctly. But we certainly receive a lot of accolades that's not reported in the media, of people who said, I lived here, 20 years ago, and I knew what it was back then. So I want to thank the police department and the community efforts that went in with making our streets a lot more safer. So we certainly, building bridges, when people call someone a bridge builder, Well, it's actually like a humbling phrase that people use. It has been used for me. I don't know how much I deserve it, but I'll take the compliment. So I'm going to show my humility. But the thing about it is that the bridge is never built. It's not like you can never, okay, I've built this bridge when it comes to police-community relationship. It's an ongoing effort. And, you know, we succeed together and we fail together. So when police-community relationships, when you could see an improvement, that's something that the police department and the community, because they both have a role in it. It just seems to be that the police-community relationship aspect, when it doesn't go well, then it becomes the police department's sole responsibility. I'm not so sure I agree with that. But, you know, it's a tough situation. We want to keep the guns off the street. We want to save lives. We want to have a better quality of life in this particular city. And we don't want to certainly violate anyone's rights doing that. You know, that's not good, and that's not policing. That's bad policing if it's in fact taking place. And we want to do it in a dignified manner, and something that we're going to continue to look at.
Sure. And at the end of the day, of course, we as the citizens have to understand that while doing all of this, you also want to return home to your families, to your children, to your loved ones and your friends. And speaking of community relations, building bridges, and you headed, as we said before in the introduction of our interview, the Community Affairs Bureau before your appointment to the chief of the department. Please describe for our listeners the New York City Police Department's community outreach programs, such as the PAL, the Citizens Police Academy, the NYPD Explorers, the gun buyback programs, etc.
You know, Father, we could be here speaking for days if we talked about all of our community outreach programs, because there are many. We evaluate them. You know, when I was in community affairs, I took a look to see which ones had outlived their usefulness and which ones should we create new ones. So I understand, like the police department, we understand that community outreach is part of policing. It is as vital as teaching our officers how to spot someone who's actually carrying a weapon. You know, how do you spot the person who's breaking into an apartment? So it's a vital, crucial part. And the PAO is one that we work hand in hand with the Police Athletic League. We run basketball tournaments. We run various different athletic and after-school programs to deal with these particular children. We like to keep them off the street, because we some of us believe that idle time is it's not good.
Yeah.
And we get them in very productive type of relationships where they develop relationships with the police officers. The community councils in the precincts. This is a monthly meeting where you have access to your commanding officer, and you can ask him or her to give you a state of the address of what's going on in your particular precinct, and subsequently the opportunity to give suggestions on what you think you'd like to see and how you can and the police department can work together. We have a Citizens Police Academy where people who sign up, they go for 16 weeks, one time a week for 3 hours, and they get a full understanding from soup to nuts on how the police department operates. And it's designed for you to take that back to your community so you have a better understanding. And once you have that understanding, you're in a better position to critique and offer suggestions to us. And that's how the relationship works. We show you what we're doing. This is how we operate. Then you're able to now say, wow, I've done an assessment. Now let me suggest or not suggest this. Why don't we try more of this, Mr. or Mrs. Police Department, and vice versa. And that's how the whole chemistry and dynamics are designed to work. And it's working in a lot of different ways. But once I said, the bridge is never built, and this is something that you have to continue to do day in and day out.
And how true that is, Chief. I mean, I graduated, I believe, in 2009 from the Citizens Police Academy, and I think that was a real eye-opening experience, most especially, and I always share this with people I speak with, most especially when us as the private citizens are taken down to that gun range, and we go through various scenarios, of course, animated, but nevertheless, it opens up a little window to what you and your officers see in real life on a daily basis, and how eye-opening of an experience it is to see what it feels like to pick up a firearm and look into the face, even if it's on the screen, look into the face of someone that most probably wants to take your life. So I think programs like that in the police department change people. They change their perspective, and they in turn herald that news, that good news, to their respective communities, so that in time of distress, in time of upheaval, in time of something going wrong in their communities, they could say, wait a minute, and this is the colloquialism, right? I have walked, even for 16 weeks, even behind the protective walls of the police academy, but I have walked a little bit in their shoes, and believe me, I remember myself, I started shaking picking up that firearm, saying, what am I going to encounter? I cannot believe what it feels like in real life, however. So congratulations on that, and congratulations to the police commissioner, because I believe the initiative to begin the Citizens Police Academy was the initiative of Commissioner Ray Kelly in his first tenure,
yes,
I believe. So congratulations for that, and keep up all the good work, of course. And you mentioned the community affairs officers. What is their function in each precinct?
In each precinct, the role of the community affairs officer is to act like as a liaison between the community and the precinct commanding officer. And the commanding officer is the person who's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the police services in that area. So they're supposed to cultivate the relationships between the communities and bridge the gap and build bridges between the community and that local precinct. So that person is for the most part the door, the access to get to the precinct commanding officer. Your concerns, your issues, your questions, what you would like to see, and certainly how you can help contribute to helping police your neighborhood.
Sure. Now, Mayor Bloomberg and Commissioner Kelly have stated that you are, in fact, the best choice for this appointment because of your character and experience. Based on that experience that everyone recognizes, where do you see the NYPD in 10 years? What are your long-term goals as chief of the department for the greatest, truly the greatest police department in the world?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of dedicated, loyal people in NYPD. And I'm very grateful and humbled that the commissioner has chosen me for this assignment. But rest assured, there are many people that he could have chosen for this assignment, and the agency would go on very, very well. So there's a lot of talent and a lot of commitment in this particular agency. So when the mayor said I was the best for that, I certainly I like that. I'm humbled by it, but certainly there are many other choices that could have served as well. In 10 years, I don't know how to answer your question specifically, Father George, so I'm going to answer it the best way I know how. In 10 years, I would hope that this department continues to its record-setting pace to improve quality of life and crime conditions in New York City, and in the interim have the best possible relationship that it can have with the citizens. I would like in 10 years for overwhelmingly the citizens in New York City, and not just the citizens, the people who frequent here, because there's tourists here and there's people that come here to work every single day, to say that this police department is concerned about me, they care about me, and they show it to me on a day-by-day basis. And if we could get that while we continue to improve the quality of life, that's where I like to see the department be in 10 years.
From your mouth to God's ears, Chief, there's a very touching prayer which is recited during the Divine Liturgy in the Orthodox Church, which reads in part, "We thank you, Lord, for all the things that we know and do not know, for blessings seen and unseen that have been bestowed upon us." We, Chief, truly thank God for all that we know and do not know about the NYPD, and all that you do which we see, and all that you do which we do not see. Because, in fact, these are the things that ensure that we, the citizens of the metropolis of the world, New York City, as you alluded to before, we conduct our daily business enjoying our freedoms, our peace, and our tranquility. And we truly, truly offer thanks to God for you and the men and women under certainly the commissioner and yourself as chief of the department. I would ask for a final message to our listeners and any phone numbers or websites that the general public can visit to stay informed of the department's news.
Okay. One is that if you go onto the website www.nypd.gov, you can you'll come on the NYPD website, and then there's a link to the Community Affairs Bureau where there's a host of different options that you can stay connected to the police department. You can become apprised of all of the department's community participation programs, and then you can find one that suits you on how you can best contribute to the well-being of New York City. Two, the message that I would have is that the police department is very vital for New York City, and our energy is derived by our relationships with the people in the city. So we need you to reach out and touch a police officer, right? And what I mean by that is, get involved with your local police in some form or fashion. Get to know who your precinct commanding officer is. It's pretty easy and simple to do that. Develop a relationship with it. It's your block, it's your church, it's your school, it's your business. Cultivate that relationship. Find out and suggest and help him or her help you, and subsequently how you can help him help that particular city. So I'm a big believer, and I ask consistently all the time, do you in fact have a relationship with your local commander? Because when you do that, you help him or her become a better officer.
Well, Chief, I wish to articulate and convey to you, as always, the deepest appreciation of the Greek Orthodox community for all that you do for our beloved city and the police department. I have said this about you before, and I will say it again and again. You epitomize leadership and commitment in your public service, and we, the public, most appropriately owe you a debt of gratitude. Therefore, please, Chief, accept the most fervent prayers of all of our listeners to Almighty God, that He will continue to guide you, nurture you, keep you under the protection of His mighty right hand, and also to keep you wise, alert, and shower upon you and all the members of the service His heavenly blessings in abundance. And truly, it is my prayer that the archangels will open up their wings and protect you and bring you safe. A lot of families waiting for all of these members of the service to return home after a hard day's work. God bless you, and once again, we thank you for your truly wonderful hospitality here at Police Headquarters. God bless you and keep you, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you very much, Father George. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Αγαπητοί μου εν Χριστώ αδελφοί, επιστρέφουμε ευθύς αμέσως.